Hey there, YouTubers. Well, on today's edition of Good Packer Nation Morning, we talk about keys to the game against the Colts. I've got a little different take than some people, but we also, of course, go through the injury list, which came out yesterday and is loaded, as always. Talk a little bit about the running back situation as well. And so it's a really good show, and tomorrow is Prediction Friday, so we're rolling into the weekend with Good Packer Nation Morning. Good Packer Nation Thursday morning, everybody. I don't know about you, but I am still absolutely rolling over the Cubs winning the World Series last night. Not just that the Cubs win, because I am not a Cubs fan, as I've said in the past. I was kind of rooting for them because my family has some history with the Cubbies. I wanted to see them break the curse, but what a freaking awesome game. I absolutely loved that game last night. And I was walking around the house today, still kind of riding the high of that Game 7 was just absolutely fantastic. Atalantis is here from California. Adam, not Adams, says good morning. Sean is here. Brown is here and says good morning to everybody as well. Nelson is here. Virginia, Jared is here saying good day. Tim and Mike from Winnipeg is back. All right. Good to see you guys. Let me know who you are and where you're coming at me from. And while you're at it, if you want to emoji me your feelings about the game last night, if you watched Game 7, let me know what you think. If you're a Cleveland fan, you're not too happy this morning. But if you're a Cubbies fan, Trent is here. Good to see you. Then you are probably ecstatic right now. I am just, it was just an absolutely... Okay, I'm sure it was a great baseball season. I'm not even that much of a baseball fan. I like the game, but I prefer to watch it live. I'm sure it was a fantastic season, and it was a fantastic series. Cubs go down 1-3, come back into it, and but it was an absolutely epic Game 7. I mean, it was a privilege to watch that game. I'm still rolling. My student was texting me from the other room saying he was trying to sleep and could I keep it down? And I was like, no, I can't. That's not going to happen. Put some headphones on if you have to, because I just couldn't contain myself. A lot of people are dancing in the streets in Chicago, I'm sure, still this morning, or picking themselves up off the streets in Chicago. So if you had a chance to see it, it was worth it. If you get a chance, check out the highlights, because that in and of itself, there was like a 5-minute highlight reel that was just pure excitement. So at any rate, but this is a Packer show, so I'm not going to go too far about that. But it was one of those things, I've said for years that the NFL football is America's game right now. It's not baseball anymore. We don't have that much heart for it to some extent. Well, last night, baseball is America's sport. So, and if you are a fan, you don't have to be a fan of baseball. You don't have to, if you're a fan of sports, you don't have to be a fan of American sports. If you're a fan of sports in general, you could enjoy watching that game. It was really something to see. All right, and worth staying up late for. So, I see everybody is, I was going to talk about the injury report and the fact that we signed Brandon Burks to the practice squad, but apparently everyone wants to talk about, including my buddy Phil out there, which I also saw, it came up, wants to talk about the fact that, the Vikings lost their offensive coordinator, like unexpectedly. Isn't that something? And I think, Phil, you were the one that said, the purple rain had become the purple tears, and the crying continues. That's got to be a tough blow to lose Norv Turner in the middle of the season. And, this is something that could really help the Green Bay Packers out. I know they've got Pat Shurmur is going to be the interim, so there's not going to be a huge amount of change. They don't have a running game, though. I mean, there's not like they can rely on a running game. Sam Bradford seems to be sort of falling apart now. And I'm just quite happy about that. I was a little bit surprised. Never really heard the story, but I don't really care. I see a lot of laughter coming across the screen. But there you have it, folks. The Vikings continue to take hits out there. And we're going to talk about the running back situation. Of course, we know we signed Brandon Burks to the practice squad. I guess if I got this feeling that like if Montgomery's healthy, they're not even gonna activate him, and because I get this sense that Ted Thompson would rather like leave an empty roster spot than get a serviceable running back somewhere at this point. Rick says the Vikes are done. So we're going to talk a little bit about the running situation as it pertains to keys to the game. I'm going to give you my keys to the game. Mine are a little off the beaten path today because I hear a lot of people saying kind of the same old thing. And mine, I think, are going to be a little bit different in some regards. All right, well, let's talk about the injury report. Of course, we know we're not going to see Jared Cook. We're not going to see any, we've got all of our IR guys are still, we haven't pulled anybody. We can't yet, I don't think. Randall Cobb was limited. I expect Randall Cobb to play. He's just, we talk about how, we all cringe when Randall Cobb goes back to into the backfield, because he could get hurt back there. Well, he gets hurt every year, but he plays all the time. He plays hurt all the time. This guy is freaking tough. And somebody's saying Ted needs to retire. I'm going to have some comments about that. I'm going to go into a little more depth on that in just a minute. I'll try not to go to a mic drop on that today because it's starting to really get under my craw that we can't get a running back. All right, Dimitri Goodson did not participate. Lang didn't participate. And the big one is J.C. Treader did not participate. At this point, Treader with the MCL strain, not a sprain. It's looking like it's going to be Corey Linsley going, which doesn't scare me too much, but it will be one of my keys to the game coming up. James Starks did not participate. So once again, we see why Burks, obviously he was not good enough for us at one point. Now he's good enough for us because we have this revolving door at the running back position right now. And we can't just bring somebody in and stick with them and get the job done. So, it's handing off the ball to a running back with a really, really good offensive line. But we can't get it done. Can't get it done. Ty was limited. Excuse me, I got something in my throat today. Demarius Randall did not participate. Rollins is day-to-day. This is the same old, but I did want to let you guys know down here, Vontae Davis with his concussion did not participate in practice either. The Colts have their own injury issues to deal with, but that Vontae Davis injury, if he doesn't play, that is a huge blow to the Colts defensive backfield. And we're looking at a Packers team that was, 1 point away from being able to get it done against the Atlanta Falcons. This again, like I said yesterday, is a very nice opportunity for the Packers offense to continue to stay in stride. We get to roll this one out at Lambeau. Hopefully we can get some things done. Hopefully we get some things together. What are my keys to the game? If you want to roll up your keys to the game, I will read them off if I can. But who plays high school ball, he's a running back, he's awesome. Give him a call. Yes, that's right. The only problem is you got to be ready because Ted Thompson's going to release him after 2 days or one game. But this is the situation we're in right now. So everybody is saying, all right, so you ask people and you get online and you ask people what are the keys to this game? And everybody says, we have to get the running game going. And that's the key to the game. This is the obvious one, right? We have to get the running game going because we've had this revolving door at running back. I disagree. Because a key to the game is something we've got to get done or we can't win the game. This Packer team, the number one key to this game is for Aaron Rodgers to play like he did against the Bears and the Falcons. If Aaron Rodgers plays the way he did against the Bears and against the Falcons, the Packers could throw 75 times and the Packers will win this game. We wouldn't have to run the ball one single time, and we could win this game against the Colts, especially with Vontae Davis not going to play. Now, that doesn't mean the running game is not important. That doesn't mean I think we're not going to hand the ball off. I think we are. I think we're going to see the running game improve and solidify to some extent. Look at what Ripkowski's been doing. He has been slowly building a string of some successful performances, and Aaron Rodgers talked about it this week. That not only did, that kind of what surprised them, they know the guy can block, they know he can catch out of the backfield, but kind of what surprised them is he's a serviceable running back too when we need him. He said that kind of opened all of their eyes when he had like that 12-yard run, 13-yard run or whatever it was, carrying half of a team on his back. So I'm not saying that I think we are going to improve in the run game in this game. But what I am saying is we do not have to take a step forward in the run game if Aaron Rodgers continues to play well. So number one key to the game, and I said this yesterday, I want to see Aaron Rodgers build and the offense build off that performance. That would be even better. But if we can at least continue the kind of performance we've had for the last couple of weeks on offense, I think we win this game. Because my second key to the game is getting pressure on Andrew Luck, and I've already made my bold prediction, and that is that our defensive, not our defensive line necessarily, but our defense is going to have 5 sacks in this game. The reason that the key, if I was going to talk about the running game being a key to this game, here's what I would say. The key to this game is finding a running back and sticking with him, for crying out loud. I mean, we had Jarrell, what's his name, come off the Vikings. He's here for a little bit. We ditch him. We bring in Niall Davis. We let him run the ball 3 times. We ditch him. All the while, CJ Spiller has been just out there floating in purgatory forever, and we do nothing to get him. And we got James Starks not participating, so I guess that means we'll see Burks. He's familiar. I got nothing against the guy. I think he's... But the key to the game for the future is to find a running back that works and leave him alone. Just let him play. Let him settle in. Sherry's asking if Matthews is back. He didn't participate either. I'm going to double check that. But according to the reports on the field, he was not out there. He wasn't out there. They're calling him limited. He's limited for the week. But yesterday, I don't think he participated at all. So that's going to be day to day. Today, I will probably be writing a humor article announcing that Clay Matthews' hamstrings are retiring from NFL football. Again, and now you look at this. Let's talk about this, all right? Let's talk about the Clay Matthews injury, all right? And I said, this was my caveat to my bold prediction was if Clay Matthews plays and he's healthy, and I hope he only plays if he's healthy, the Packers defense has 5 sacks in this game. All right. If he doesn't play, that's my bold prediction is off the table. I'm giving myself an out. But here's the deal. Look at what happened with Lacy. If we had held Lacy out of he played a great game, hurt. But if we had held him out then and let Starks carry the load, then we might still have Eddie Lacy. So I don't want to see Clay Matthews go out on the field until he is fully healthy. He has had hammy every single year. And Phil is out there. Oh, guys, you can give Phil some love for this one. Phil is out there saying, Edgar Bennett, player/coach. I am loving that one. Because I talked about Edgar Bennett in my little story from back in the Super Bowl 31 season. Rick Motti is making a bolder prediction that we'll have 5 sacks without Matthews. Rick's never one to back away from a bold prediction. Yeah, their offensive line is terrible. Andrew Luck's the most sacked quarterback in the league. So, to be quite honest, us having 5 sacks, I hedged my bet a little bit because we were getting sacks. We were getting multiple sacks. When Clay Matthews was in, we were getting multiple sacks. It didn't matter who we were playing against, because eventually he's going to get to you. Eventually, our other guys are wearing people down, and you can expect probably 1 out of Julius, 1 out of Perry. Clay goes in, he's going to have a couple. If Clay doesn't go in, we have 4 sacks. So that's my response. So Rick and I will go back and forth on this one, like by 1 sack, big deal, right? But, it's going to be important. That's going to be key to the game because you have to take, obviously this is a matchup league, right? And if you have a great defensive line, which I love what our defensive line, I love the way Kenny Clark is coming on right now. And you guys know that Mike Daniels, man, I think if there was one guy I would want to meet on the team, it might be Aaron Rodgers, just because I would love to have a long, extended, intellectual conversation with Aaron Rodgers. But maybe slightly second to that would be Mike Daniels, because I just would love to meet that dude. And, maybe we could arm wrestle. I don't know. But anyway, to my point, our defensive line has become a real strength. And obviously, we've got a really good rotation at outside linebacker, and at our linebacker position. And then you compare that to the matchup against their O-line, and it just looks like a daunting task for Andrew Luck and a long day, frankly, at Lambeau Field. And that's exactly what I'm expecting. I think our expectation should be right there. That doesn't mean he's not going to hit a play or two. The guy can score. I mean, the Colts can score points now, folks. Remember, they're scoring more points than the Packers are. 26.4 points a game. Or 26 points a game. We're at 24.6. Very comparable. But they're scoring more points per game than we are. So don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing the Colts offense, but their offensive line has got some problems. And there's no doubt about that. And it's time for the Packers to take advantage and have one heck of a game. I mean, Kenny Clark is looking for one. Kyler Fackrell, he got the taste. He got the taste right now. And Jared he's patting himself on the back right now. All right, it's Thursday. You can do that all you want. Jared says, have faith in Kenny Clark, when everybody was ripping on him. And I ripped on him too, because he wasn't playing well in the preseason. But I did say this. I said the importance of, and this is proof true as well. This is a young player. He's a rookie. And the Packers brought him on. We knew that it was going to take a little time for the kid to develop. What we know, and there was a lot of buzz about this, and it's absolutely well warranted. Mike Daniels the same way. The guy's a wrestler. He understands leverages as well as anybody on the field. What he needs to understand is the system. He needs to understand the system well enough and he said that today. They talked about the speed of the game. Now the game is slowing down for Kenny Clark. And when the game slows down for Kenny Clark, he's a fast boy for his size. And good things start to happen. So kudos to Jarrett for sticking with him. However, I think it progressed exactly as I thought, that this was a kid that was going to need time. And we've had this conversation too. The fact that we held out so many starters during the preseason was going to make our team better down the road. And how important has that become right now? With a team that is decimated with injury, we might see Rollins on the field, but I got a hunch we're not going to see Clay Matthews for the second game in a row. And we're not going to see. We know all the other guys we're not going to see. I think Cobb is going to play. I suspect Matthews will not. Just because Cobb, he always plays, and he always plays well hurt. That's one of the marquee characteristics of a truly good player. It's not how they play; it's how they play when they're hurt. And you know how hard it is. You guys who played, you know how hard it is to play well when you're hurt. So. Pain makes cowards of us all. But not so with one Randall Cobb. I really like that guy. That's another guy I'd love to meet someday. All right, folks. Keys to the game. So we know that Aaron Rodgers is going to have to continue. I hope he builds off what he did against the Atlanta Falcons, and I think that's possible. I think the defensive line and the outside linebackers are key to this game because of the pressure packages that we're going to bring. And I think here's the question. I think Dom Capers is running through his mind now. What he's got one for each scenario. What game plan do we roll out when we find out about Clay Matthews? Because one thing we know about Dom Capers is he is not the kind of guy that just says, this is our game plan. I don't care who the players are. They're all going to execute it. Yes, everybody has their job to do, but he matches the game plan to focus on getting the best players he's got on the field. So that will change if Clay Matthews is not available, because that means next player up. But that's going to be key. And the defensive line, interior, of course, we got to stop the run first. We got to stop Frank Gore. He's having a nice season. This guy, I got a lot of, as much as I hated the 49ers, I do have a lot of respect for Frank Gore, having long ago played the running back position. That is tough. What he's done is really tough. And we got to stop him first. But then when we force the Colts into passing situations, it's going to get ugly, I think, really fast for Andrew Luck. All right. And Otis is calling for an increase in Pepper's play. Increase Pepper's play count by 10, and he gets 2 sacks. And I could probably go along with that. We know, and we've talked about this in the past, I just talked to Rick on the phone the other day, and we were talking about how, Clay Matthews, he knows how to preserve his body. That's how he's still doing it. The Packers are saving Clay Matthews for the playoffs. I promise you this, folks. That's the reason. And Clay Matthews is waiting for the playoffs. And Clay Matthews is going to turn into a beast. He just transforms in the playoffs. He did it all the way to the Super Bowl with Carolina. And remember, the Chicago Bears could beat the Packers back when Julius Peppers was playing, and if Cutler would ever have a decent game. Remember, the reason the Packers picked up Julius Peppers is because we were so sick of playing against him. And he's a something. If you see him on the sidelines, he's just a different kind of human being. There are differences in degree, and there are differences of kind. And it's just like the guy's a different kind of human being. I don't know. He's awesome. So, all right. And I don't think he's over the hill. I think he's getting at that point where obviously we kind of have this feeling that decisions are going to be made. But I love the guy. So, all right. So are we going to run the ball 20 times with Jackson? I think we can be successful. I think we can be successful with him. Again, my key to the game was Aaron Rodgers, and here's my third. I guess I never got to my third key to the game. The third key to the game is Corey Linsley. Because Corey Linsley is a fine center. He's been a center all of his playing career. He's not going to have any major problem out there. But when you haven't played the position for that long, you haven't gotten out on the field, and you play the center position, a lot can go wrong at the center position. We saw it with J.C. Tretter, if you will recall the first couple games of the season, that J.C. Tretter and Aaron Rodgers for a couple of plays in there were not on the same page. And if I'm remembering right, one of them cost us points. So my third key to the game is the Corey Linsley Aaron Rodgers connection. That's extremely important. Linsley's going to do a great job, I think. And so by key to the game, I just mean it's key for him to play well, and it's key for them to be on the same page, and I think it's going to be happening, which is why tomorrow I'm going to be predicting a win for the Packers. Y'all can heart me if you're going to be predicting a win for the Packers as well. It's Thursday, it's a good day. We just got to watch Game 7 of the World Series, which was phenomenal. Absolutely astounding. So, I think, and like I say, I don't think the running game is a key to this game, period. I think if Aaron Rodgers does, I think Aaron Rodgers is the key to this game. If he continues doing what he's done, I think we can win this game without running the ball well. We ran, 16 times against the Falcons, scored 4 touchdowns. Whatever it was, So that doesn't mean that I don't think the running game's important. I think it is. I've been one that's pounded that drum for many years when a lot of people were saying we could just sling the ball around all the time. However, as the case may be against the Colts, and with, Vontae Davis doesn't look like he's going to play. And so we do have the opportunity and the ability to win without having a great running game. So now, is that a good thing or a bad? That's a good thing, because that means Jackson can go out there and he can get a bunch of nice live reps. He can start feeling a little more comfortable. Hopefully he can, knock on wood, hopefully he can stay healthy. And hopefully Ted Thompson will at least have somebody that he doesn't have to continue making transaction after transaction for nothing to have a revolving door at the running back situation in the middle of a season. I mean, I know we had injuries, but come on. So yeah, I think the running game is going to actually be good. I think it's going to take a step forward, but I do not see it as a key. I would love to see it. I'd love to see 80 to 100 yards out of Jackson. That'd be awesome. I didn't see any more keys to the game come out. I got the Linsley Rodgers connection, which is a little off the beaten path. Obviously, we all want to see Aaron Rodgers continue to play, and I think a lot of us are expecting that the defensive pressure packages to get to Andrew Luck early and often in this game. So those are mine, but there are a lot more. Obviously, we want to see this young wide receiver core. Maybe Randall Cobb. Maybe they have to rest him again. I think Cobb's going to play just because Randall Cobb seems to have influence. Like if he wants to play, He plays. We're not going to see Starks in this game. So it's going to be interesting. So Randall Cobb or Ty Montgomery are going to end up in the backfield again, folks. But hopefully Jackson makes that a non-issue. Maybe we don't have to do that as much. Anthony is saying we need a big game from the secondary, and that is true. Like, what would happen right now if our secondary started getting on fire to the tune of like 2 picks in this game? We've seen games where this defensive secondary has dropped like 3 and 4 interceptions. Just wait. Just think about what would happen if we start turning that around. And one of the things, I know Kenny Clark talked about that this year, or this week. You don't even, as a defensive lineman or an outside linebacker, as a pass rusher, as one of the key members in a pressure package, yes, the money is the money is in the sacks. But getting a pressure on the quarterback does all kinds of good things for your team. And we talked about this before the season began, that even the times we didn't get sacks. See, at the time, we thought our cornerback situation was locked up. We thought we were deep. We were looking for Randall and Rollins both as second-year players to take a step forward. It didn't turn out that way necessarily for us. Then they both got hurt. But you get pressure on the quarterback, and then now you got a Ha-Ha Clinton Dix back there. You got a Morgan Burnett back there, and you have Micah Hyde back there that I think probably some of you remember the under-the-shoulder interception that Micah Hyde caught with one hand. If we can get hot with interceptions, they usually come in groups. And man, that would be fantastic to see that start. Even on those downs, those passing downs where we don't necessarily get to luck, we don't get them on the ground. One errant pass, and all of a sudden we can start seeing our defensive backfield take a step forward and also maybe gain a little confidence. You have a good game, and you start to gain confidence. And, I feel like Ladarius Gunter, I think, gained some confidence against the Falcons. But the defense, you got to look at it, and they still just scored a ton of points on us. So they've got work to do. They're not going to be resting in their laurels. The offense can't afford to do it either. But Virginia's saying, I say rest Cobb and Matthews. And this is one of those things, and we've talked about this in terms of Mike McCarthy. Really, the job of a head coach it's a management position. It has a lot of it is just managing player health, and I can see decisions being made because we're going to need these guys to be as healthy as possible because of this grueling schedule on the road. Do I think we can win without Clay Matthews? Yeah, I think we can beat the Colts without Clay Matthews. Do I think we can beat the Colts without Randall Cobb? Yeah, I think we can beat the Colts without Randall Cobb. Because of my key to the game is not the way Randall Cobb plays. It's not the way Clay Matthews plays. We got a good rotation at outside linebacker. And we got Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers has been a bit bipolar this year, for lack of a better term. DM saying hammies are no joke, and that's absolutely correct. Man. But Aaron Rodgers continues to play. And if he performs better, we know at the other end, we've got some guys that can catch the ball. We got Trevor Davis that can flat out run. We got Janis who can flat out run, and he's a big dude. And Jordy Nelson is still out there. And like I said, he was this close to having an absolutely phenomenal and what would have been game-winning performance, I'm convinced, against the Atlanta Falcons had Aaron Rodgers not missed one or two passes. So here we go, folks. It's Thursday. What else we got on the docket? I don't know. Keys to the game. Keys to the game. That's so overused, man. I don't know. The game tonight is the Tampa Bay Falcons game. Now this is an interesting game, and we talked about this game, right? Because who's one of the teams that's beat the Falcons in the past? Yeah, that would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the season opener. So this will be interesting tonight. I'm going to be watching this one. Now here the picture. This picture has changed since we talked about it Monday after the loss to the Falcons. See, we lost to the Falcons, and once we lost to the Falcons, we're looking up 2 games to the Vikings. And so we're talking all Monday, we're talking about how we got to keep in mind that every division leader gets a playoff spot. And so we wanted to see these division leaders. If we can't win the North, We don't want somebody to knock off a division leader and end up having two teams with records that are better than ours. My feed just messed up a little bit. We didn't want two teams with records better than ours elsewhere in another division. If the Packers are fighting for a wild card spot, that could be disastrous if we continued to spiral. But now with what's happened with the Vikings, I mean, we were never mathematically out of it, but we were struggling. But now we're looking at it. The Vikings drop the game to the Bears. They lose Norv Turner. They're in a spiral. They can't run the ball. Bradford is struggling throwing the ball. And the Packers are looking at playing a game against the Colts. Man, Angela says Vikings are finished. And, we got to be careful because we've still got that December run, all of those NFC North games coming in December. The question I think will be, and you know this, I talked to the guy downstairs. He was in the training room with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rick, I don't know if I told you that on the phone the other day, but yeah, the guy that's standing down here, he's doing his PhD work over here. And he said the same thing. He's like, the NFL, it's about staying healthy. I think the only team that's not true of right now is the New England Patriots, and I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. Can I say it again? I hate that. It's like the New England Patriots, it doesn't matter. Like, they could have a high school team and go out and beat the Denver Broncos. It's like, what the heck? So anyway, I guess that's about all I have today. But I am going to be watching that Atlanta Falcons game tonight, and of course, I guess that discussion then now is that if we can pull off the NFC North, which it looks like we can, now the picture changes. That's what I was getting to. I had a point, and the point is from Monday morning till now, the picture has changed quite a bit. If the Buccaneers now, if they knock off Atlanta, they've got both the head-to-head games against them. And they're on a little bit of a streak right now. And they could send the Falcons back into a downward spiral. Now, if the Falcons can lose a string of games, the Packers can win the North. Now we're talking a completely different conversation. Now the conversation is about home field advantage at that point. And who's playing where. Now, honestly, Monday morning before the Vikings game, I didn't even want to talk about that. I was too nervous to talk about that. But now that's coming right into the conversation, and that's part of the reason I'm going to be excited to watch this game tonight. And Anthony is saying, Bucks are playing well. They're no one to be trifled with. Okay. Just throw up a thumbs up or a heart, Is this not a freaking fantastic NFC season right now? You look at the NFC, and I hate that the Packers have dropped 3 games, all right? Don't get me wrong about that. But if you just step back for a second, and you look at the NFC, the Cowboys look like kind of a dominant team. But the Eagles beat them. You don't know what's going to happen in the NFC East. This is a fantastic, and I'm focusing on the NFC because of the way the Super Bowl works, right? But this is a fantastic NFL season, guys. It is an exciting NFL season. And you just wait. Guys, we play the Seahawks, and then we play all 3 of our NFC North rivals. The gods of the NFL have figured out a way. They have got the formula for making exciting seasons that come down to the wire almost every year right now. And Rick is saying Dak's going to hit a wall. You wait and see. Well, I think he started it against the Eagles. He did not have a good game. He was very happy to sneak away. Or did they? I may be thinking of the wrong game. I'm getting off track. But yeah, this has just been an amazing season. I'm really loving it. Again, I'm not saying that the losses to the Vikings and the Cowboys, man, really kind of shook me, in terms of we weren't seeing the offense that we really expected to see roll out of the gate. There was really no excuses for this offense to roll out of the gate the way they were, and to not be able to put up more than 14 points on the Vikings. I know the Vikings are a tough team. At the time, they were playing really good defense. But we should have at least been able to put up a field goal and tie that game, go into overtime, see what happens at that point. There's really no excuse. And Rodgers is saying never say die, and that's absolutely right. That's what we're talking about. This whole week has been about. It's really bad. Isn't it funny? Is it a little bit ironic to you guys that this week has been a positive week? We're talking, I mean, it's the middle of the season. You know, playoff pictures, you start talking about them right now. November's coming around, holiday season. This is what we're going to start talking about here. Games, you know, just start to feel, we start to see the picture. This is that kind of tweener spot in November where you sort of see, it's like you see the future in possibilities right now. In December, it gets more concrete. That's why December football is so exciting. In September, every game matters. We know that every game matters. I'm sick of people talking about how football starts in December. No, it doesn't. It starts when the season starts because every game is worth one game. But you have no idea of the pit. You're not even thinking. You can't even talk. You can't even build scenarios. But the tweener, in November, we're in that tweener stage, and it's really exciting. And the Packers, and what I was saying is it not interesting and ironic that this week, if we look back, the Packers didn't win the game this week. But there's a positive vibe. That doesn't mean I know some of you are still upset, and I'm a little bit upset, and we got Packers win like scrolling across the field. Just throw up a heart for a Go Pack Go right now. If you're just feeling like, you know, this is a team that has been through the ringer, and they are hanging in there. They have given themselves a chance. Even though we dropped the game against the Falcons, some things have run our way this week. We play the Colts. We get to go home before a long stretch on the road. And everything is not completely copacetic in Packer Nation right now, but there's a positive vibe out there. And if you're excited for Sunday game against the Colts, I'm excited to see this team play, you know. Let me for a minute, because the World Series, Game 7, guys, I'm still riding a high from that game, and I am not even, like I said, I'm not that much of a baseball fan. I am not a Cubs fan. I was rooting for the Cubs because I've got family that I know would just be ecstatic, and I have a grandfather who would have been 6 years old the last time the Cubbies won it all. He would have been 6 years old. Rest in peace, Grandpa. And he worked on the Sioux line up in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, or Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. A lot of you guys know who I'm talking about, the Sioux line up there. And they would ride the rails down to Chicago. And my dad and my uncles would watch the Cubbies play. And one time, my Uncle Jim lives in Chicago. And I went to Wrigley Field and I watched the Cubbies play. And I cracked the peanuts. And I didn't know the game of baseball, but it's nostalgic. So there's a point to this. Trust me. The point is, what was that game about? Like, there was that entire World Series was about the underdog. It was nostalgic. It was the perfect, like, American World Series. Two underdogs going at it. And look at the Packers right now. All right, we were underdogs against the Falcons, and we went out there and we showed them what's what. That we are no one to be fooled around with. That Aaron Rodgers is able and capable to get it done. And we're not going to be the underdogs against the Colts, I wouldn't think. But the underdog, we've got the underdog feeling, don't we? And for crying out loud. Our injury list is a litany of starters who cannot play for this team. And many of them who may not, and many of them who will not play for at least 8 weeks. And one, I think, Sam Shields at least, who may not ever play for the Packers again, maybe two. If Eddie Lacy doesn't come off IR, he's in a contract year. His situation is dire at this point. This team has an underdog feel to it right now. Heart me if you agree. And yet they are still hanging on there. Oh, Anthony is saying Harry Carey is smiling. Yeah. It was an underdog series, and man, I could do an entire show just on that game alone. Just fantastic. I mean, but I'm trying to withhold from talking about it too much. But one thing I think it did is, you know, you don't have to be if you're a fan of sports, like I said at the beginning of the show, you don't even have to know the game of baseball to have loved watching that game and understand that now the curse is broken, and there's a lot of Cubby fans, I'm sure, up in heaven, looking down and smiling or jumping around and cheering or flapping their wings or whatever you do up there. I don't know. And that is and this is also the case, no disrespect to Cleveland, then that's part of the reason this game was just absolutely fantastic, was there was no quit in either of these teams. It went to the extra inning. You felt like I could have watched that game forever. You go to extra innings a lot of times in the season and you're like, well, I'll grab some more peanuts and a hot dog, But anyway, this is the feel that the Packers have right now. But we are not down. We are not out. We are right in the thick of things. So, folks, I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoy the game tonight. Get to watch a little football. And guess what? Tomorrow is Friday. And I hope all you guys can feel a little love for Friday coming on. I hope you have had a good week. I know last week, I think somebody made the comment, that they had really had kind of a sucky week and were really happy that the weekend was coming around. So I hope that you are having a great week. And I hope that you have a fantastic Friday. I will talk to you tomorrow morning at the same pack time, the same pack place, right here in Packer Nation Studio, otherwise known as my living room. And tomorrow, of course, is Prediction Friday. So get ready to roll out your predictions. We'll continue to talk about this matchup, maybe in a little more depth. I just did keys to the game today, mostly because there's so much talk about the running game. And I do think our running game takes a step forward, and I would love to see that happen. I would love to see us sort of be able to dial one of these guys in until Starks comes back, and maybe we can have a little bit of a rotation. But there's no. I mean, Starks was not having the season of his life to begin with. I have all respect for what Starks did back in 2010, but he's not having the season of his life. That's for sure. We all know that. Now you add the injury to it. There's no guarantee he's going to come back and even be as strong, if you can use the term, as he was. So we got to get it dialed in. It is important to get it dialed in. This game against the Colts, I think, is an important opportunity for us to get some things done and get some guys some meaningful reps. So, all right, Jared is out of here. See you, buddy. I hope you have a great one on that early morning Friday. And Peter Vargas says, winning streak coming soon. I would love to see it. It's going to be a tough one, right? We got to go on the road for like 3 games in a row in November, and I think we come back in December. So it's going to be a long one, but it's going to roll us right into the holiday season. I hope you get to spend some time with family and friends. And remember, Thanksgiving is when the new game is coming out, Fire Fan Game. We're going to have a league that we name. It's going to be named after the Packers somehow, but you guys are going to name the league. You guys are going to play for the trophy, the GPN ring called the Precious. And all you got to do is go to firefan.com and punch in the code Get the Ring, and you will be in. And if you do it now, if you do it today before the game comes out, you'll get 12 tokens to play with. You basically get to try it out for free. You can play all the pregame for free. You play with the Packers. You play live with the Packers. You play right on your phone. And you can get loyalty rewards points that are going to earn you real Packers stuff. Really, really, it's going to be great. And you guys can, take the ring off my finger, which I'm sure you guys are happy about. So if you haven't done it already, don't forget, just go to firefan.com. That's all you got to do. Punch in firefan.com. Firefan, like fire, burning, fan. And my promo code is Get the Ring, all one word. So, all right, folks. Adam's saying, pack your bags, new name. All right, one nation, one team. I am loving that statement. That's awesome, Anthony. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for now. I hope you like have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same pack time, same pack place. It will be Friday, and we can talk maybe a little bit about the game. Hopefully we have some interesting things happen tonight with football, but mostly prediction time for our Green Bay Packers to go ahead and lay a whooping on the Indianapolis Colts. Have a good day. Go Pack.